Enron, WorldCom, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, they're either no longer in the S&P 500 or they're such a small part of the S&P 500 because their stocks tanked that it's worse than what it is. How are you making money? Oh, and add that to the about 30% decline in the U.S. dollar. How are you making money in the stock market?
You can't.
It's been a terrible place to put your money.
So what do you think she should do?
Right.
And hopefully the advisor's not Bernie Madoff.
You'd have been. I don't like. I really am hesitant to tell people what to do with their money because I don't want people calling me up and saying, "Well, you're not really trained to do that." But you'd have been better off by putting your money in a fixed income account in the last 10 years and drawing 3%. You'd be up 30%. That said, here's what I'm afraid of about telling you about your money. You're going to somebody and say, invest my money. If you're not watching, people equate the stock market to a savings account. That's what it's supposed to be, right? A savings account.
Yeah.
But last
they want it to grow.
They want it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, if somebody goes into my bank and takes my money out, that's robbery. But if somebody goes into your 401k account or your IRA and goes into your mutual funds and harvests the money, well, that's just investing. And they tell you to buy and hold for the long term. So
what do you think? No, nothing. Don't give her proper names, but give her an overview.
Well, I would be in the energy sector. I would buy Canadian trusts. The peak oil phenomenon is for real. Do you have your house paid off?
I do.
Good. That's
good.
Plus for you. That's a great investment. You're in Massachusetts?
She's in New York.
Oh, you're in New York.
She's in your old neck of the woods.
I would just think long and hard about taking the lion's share of your money and turning it over to this broker who's you're going to pay a percent to, and if it doesn't work out, he's going to go, oh, well. Now, we've had, just to let you know, we've had about a 60-some-odd% run-up since March of 2009, the low at 666.
What about, Gregory, some of the big mutual funds out there?
I don't like them.
You don't like them at all?
I don't like them at all. They charge you a percent. Unless you're trading your account, you're dead. You've got to take your money out at the top and put it back in at the bottom. That's what Wall Street's doing.
Well, it sounds like what you should do is go to 5 nice banks and put money in a CD and hope for the best.
Listen, do you have precious metals in your portfolio?
Yes, I do.
Good. That's good. I just think you're going to have to be a lot more active in trading out of your accounts and getting out. Because what Wall Street designed this to be is a panacea for everyone. Buy and hold for the long term. Be in the market for the long term. And the problem with that is that was before Wall Street was doing these front running trades. You heard about the Goldman program where they were front running trades by nanoseconds, and they could manipulate the market. That's what came out. It's one of those stories. That was also before VectorVest and all these different types of trading platforms where people are trading the market. You're sitting there and plunking your money into this thing, and really after 10 years' time, think about this now. We've had 10 years' time. We've had hundreds of billions of dollars pumped into this. Shouldn't it be higher than 25% below its peak?
Dramatically. Did you see today Citigroup down $7 billion for the quarter?
And they're paying bonuses. And they're paying.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What are some of the 5 safest banks? Are there any out there?
I would look at banks in my area, and boy, these days I would try to get an A-rated bank, and there are some in New York.
And A is the best you can get, not double A or anything?
You can look at on thestreet.com. You can also, if you want more detail, you can go on to, these are free services, you can go on bankrate.com. They have a star rating system, and they give you a lot more detail.
Bankrate.com?
Yes.
Let's see if we can grab one or two more callers. James in Indianapolis, first-time caller. Thanks, James. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is James, Indianapolis. George.
Yes, sir.
First time caller. My question to Greg is, what's his opinion on the rest of the world doing away with the petrodollar system? Are they going to?
You haven't done it yet, Greg, but are they going to?
That is a real a movement underfoot. I don't think it'll happen overnight, but the Chinese want it, the Brazilians,
the Kuwaitis want it, and we saved them.
Kuwaitis want it, the Russians want it, and here's why: we have the world's reserve currency, and if we're printing dollars to buy oil or tennis shoes or electronics or whatever we're doing, at some point somebody says, "Hey, wait a minute, I can't print all the euros that I want. I can't print all the pesos I want. I can't print all the yuan I want. If we did that, we'd have super hyperinflation and nobody would take our currency. But you guys are doing it and getting away with it. That's why oil, even though we're in basically a depression economy, oil is at $77, $78 a barrel. Why? Because the powers that be overseas, they're saying, hey, we need more dollars to make up for the loss of buying power. And the other thing that allows to happen, we just sent 30,000 troops, or sending 30,000 troops to Iraq. Did we have a war tax for that? This
Afghanistan, you mean?
Afghanistan, that's right. Afghanistan, forgive me. We didn't have a war tax. When Nancy Pelosi was asked by a CNN reporter about a war tax, she sloughed it off. And same thing with, and I don't really care about Democrats or Republicans. They do the same thing. We've fought 2 wars, and we got a tax cut. And it was supposed to magically increase all this revenue. But in the meantime, in the last 8 years of the Bush administration, we raised the debt ceiling 8 times, and we just raised the debt ceiling again under the Obama administration. I love that term by the WHO, that phrase, say, meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
So true.
And so it doesn't make any difference.
Hey, Greg, get your website out, would you?
Okay, it's at usawatchdog.com. I put stuff on 3-4 days a week. I also have stories that I pick that I think are meaningful, and I try to write some comments about them. I appreciate being on your show, AM Coast to Coast, or Coast to Coast AM, excuse me, and thanks for having me on. I'll come on anytime.
All right, you got it. Thank you. Greg Hunter, former investigative reporter with ABC, Good Morning America, and then he moved on to CNN. Now he's taking advantage of going viral. That's not a disease. That's the new phrase for web information. Greg Hunter's website, usawatchdog.com. For Dan Galante, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladesseur, Ross Mitchell, George Knapp, Ian Punnett, and Art Bell, I'm George Noory. Somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe, everyone.